Good afternoon, everyone. Today we're going to learn how to install R and RStudio. If you'd like to follow along, you can find the relevant links below, these three tabs. So R is an open source programming language specifically made for data analytics. It has a variety of statistics functions built in, and there are a lot of publicly available libraries that give us tools for different kinds of analysis and some really cool data visualization options. We'll get into more of that later, but for today we're just going to look at how to get everything installed so that you can get started. So the first tab here is the Comprehensive R Archive Network, CRAN, or R project. This is where R is hosted. Like I said, it's publicly available, it's open source, it's completely free. So the first thing you'll want to do is find the download link for your operating system. In this case, I'm on a Windows machine. There are a couple different installers. You're just looking for Base. And once you click that, the download link should be right at the top. So before we got started today, I uninstalled everything, so what you see should be very close to what I'm doing here, if you want to follow along. Once it's finished downloading, we go ahead and click the exe. And we'll have to say yes, we want to allow this app to make changes to our device, and then we have some of the normal installer options to get through. English is fine. I'm fine with the software license. It's going to ask if you want to install it at the default file path. I'm fine with that. We're fine here. We're fine with the defaults. Calling it R is fine. I do not want a desktop shortcut. All right. So once we get through all the options, it should go ahead and install for us. Should only take a few moments. So R is the language. It does have a UI that you can use, but we're also going to go ahead and install another program called RStudio. This is an IDE, an integrated development environment. This makes R a little bit more user-friendly for us. So the second link here is for Posit. They host RStudio for us. It is also open source, completely free. So we'll go ahead and click on RStudio. If you scroll down a little bit, we just want the open source version, completely free. We want to download RStudio. It lets you know that you need to install R first. RStudio doesn't do anything by itself. If you're on Windows, the installer is right at the top. Otherwise, you'll need to scroll down a little bit for other versions. You may need to tell it to trust the download. And just like before, we'll go ahead and run the exe to install RStudio. Yes, I want to allow this to make changes to my device. And again, we have a few basic options to click through. Okay, so this one might take a little bit longer. That's normal. While that's installing, I'm going to go ahead and open up the third tab that I have below for you guys. This is some documentation that Posit has for RStudio. The cheat sheet here shows you around the program and points out some useful things. It shows you around the different panes. I figure we can talk about that for a moment. So when we open RStudio, we're going to see the screen broken into 4 main quadrants. At the top left, we're going to see the source editor. This is where we write most of our script. We can save scripts we've written here, or we can open things that we've previously written. At the bottom, you'll see the console. This is where your output will appear if you are doing some kind of mathematical function. You can also write scripts directly in the console and execute it from there. But if you're looking to save it, you probably want to be writing up in the source editor at the top left. On the right side, you'll see a couple panes that have many different tabs. The environment tab is very useful because we can see any objects that we have available in our current project. And at the bottom right, we'll mostly be using the Plots tab. This is where we can see any visual outputs that we create, if there are any charts or graphs or maps that we create. Okay, in the meantime, RStudio has finished installing, so go ahead and click Finish, and then go ahead and launch it from your Start menu as you would anything else. Might take a second to load the first time, but once it does, you should be looking at a window like this. If you don't see all 4 panes, you can just click View panes and click Show All Panes. You can also drag these around by just putting your mouse over the border between them, in case you want to maybe make your visual output a bit bigger so that you can see your plot a little easier, or maybe you want to see your variables more clearly, or whatever it is you might be working on. In the next tutorial, we'll talk about how to get started. We'll do some basic functions, we will create some variables and assign them values, but for now I just want everyone to get the software installed so that we can all be on the same page.